Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. Also make sure you turn off your hot and cold water supplies. In this video, we're going to show you how to change out the GE Washer Flood Hose Gasket. It's going to be a very easy repair and should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new Flood Hose Gasket. The Flood Hose Gasket is mounted on the outer tub. The main reason to be changing it out is if it's damaged and you're getting water leaking on the floor. In order to get to the part, we have to take the washer apart. First thing we're going to do is go around to the back. Now that we're around back, we can take the fill hoses off. We're going to throw a towel down to catch any water that may come out. To get the fill hoses off, we're going to use our pliers to break them free. And then you can take them off the rest of the way by hand. You want to make sure you label them or remember which one is hot and cold so you don't mix them up. Once you have the hoses removed, we can pick up the towel and then we can use our 1/4-inch nut driver to take out the 3 screws that hold the control panel on. Now that we have the screws out, we're going to lift the control panel up. There's 3 locking tabs across the top that we have to unhook from. And we're not going to do anything with the control panel. We're just going to kind of set it down so it's out of the way and we can take the top off. Now we can take the front panel off. We're going to use a putty knife and go from the side. You can go in about 4 inches or right in line with the opening of the edge of the lid and then slide over a little bit. Push in, release the locking tab. And you can pull it out so it doesn't lock when it goes back in. Then we can do the other side. Once you have both tabs released, we can lift the lower panel off its mounting brackets. Once you have it off, you can set it aside. Now we can use the 1/4-inch nut driver to remove these 2 screws that hold the top to the cabinet. Now that we have the screws out, we can pull the top assembly forward a little bit so it releases from the locking tabs. And then before we lift it off, we have to take off the lid switch. We're going to go underneath and release a tab so we can take it out. Once you have the top lifted up, we're going to take our flathead screwdriver and press in on this locking tab while pressing up at the same time so it goes up towards the lid. Once you have it released, we can set the top down so we can open up the lid and take the switch out. All you have to do is lift up on the lid switch and carefully pull on the other side so it releases. And then we can feed it down through the opening and leave it there. Then we can close the lid and lift the whole assembly off the washer. Now that we have the top off, we're going to take the console and rest it across the top of the cabinet so we can disconnect the water level pressure switch hose. We're just going to carefully disconnect it. Now that we have the hose disconnected, we can use our 1/4-inch nut driver to remove these 4 screws that hold this panel down. Now we can take off the end caps. There's a little locking tab right here that holds it to the back panel. So we're just going to lift up on that with a small flathead screwdriver to release it. Once you have it released, then we're going to slide the end cap forward to release the 2 mounting tabs. Once you have the mounting tabs out, you can pull it off the washer. This side comes out the same way. Now we can take the water level pressure switch hose out from this little hole right here. We're just going to feed it through. And then we're going to take the control panel, this mounting panel, and the back plate and carefully hang them over the side so we can work on the washer. Now we can use the 5/16 nut driver to take out the screws that hold the suspension straps on. Make sure you don't lose the washers. They'll come off together. Once you have the screw out, you can lift the strap off its mounting peg. The other three come off the same way. Now we can take the tub cover off. It's held in by a bunch of locking tabs. We're going to go around and lift up on them. But as you pull on the locking tabs, you want to push down right where they are, so you compress the seal a little bit so the locking tab releases and you don't actually break it. Once you have all the tabs released, you can lift the tub cover off and set it aside. Now that we have the tub cover off, we have access to the flood hose gasket. It's mounted on the outer tub. We're going to reach in with wire cutters and cut the zip tie off. If you have to, you can push it over a little bit to make some more room. Once you have the zip tie cut off, you can pull the hose out of it. And set it down so it doesn't fall. It is zip tied down there, so it should stay attached, but just make sure it doesn't fall down. Then we can reach in from behind, and we want to make sure that we support the flood hose gasket because we don't want to drop it down in between the two tubs. Otherwise, you'll have to pull the inner tub out to get it. So we're just going to flex it so it comes off, and then we can pull it out. Once you have it off the tub, you can pull it out of the washer. Here's the old flood hose gasket next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at appliancepartspros.com. When you put the new flood hose gasket in, you want to make sure you line up the D shape so that it snaps into the tub properly. To put the flood hose in, we're just going to grab it and lift it up into place. If you want, you can get it wet so it slides into the new gasket a little bit easier. Once you have it pushed in place, we can put a new zip tie on. Once you have the zip tie tightened down, we can cut the excess off with the wire cutters. And then we can put the rest of the machine back together. To put the tub cover on, you want to make sure that the bleach reservoir is up here in the front left corner. And then you want to make sure that the tabs go on the outside of the outer tub so that when you push it down, they all lock in correctly. Once you have everything lined up, we can go around and snap all the locking tabs in. Once you have the tub cover locked in place, we can put the straps back on. To put the straps back on, all you have to do is line them up on their mounting positions, and then we can use the 5/16 nut driver to put the screws in. Now that we have the straps on, we can put the console back together. We're going to carefully lift up the console and turn it over so we can put everything back together. Once you have everything up here and situated, we can grab our end caps and put everything back together. To put the end caps on, we're going to put the locking tabs in and pull them back into place, and then we can lock the back panel in. Once you have the back panel in, we're going to set this metal plate across and line up the screw hole. And we can use our 1/4" nut driver to put the screws in. Now we can put the other end cap in. Goes in the same way. Now that we have the end caps on, we can use the 1/4" nut driver to put in the 2 back screws. Once you have the 2 back screws in, we can grab the water level pressure switch hose and route it through the mounting plate. And we can grab the console and move it closer and hook it up to the switch. Make sure you push it down all the way so you get a good seal. Then we're going to rotate the console up and kind of set it out of the way so we can put the top back on. To put the top back on, we have to put the lid switch back on first. So we're going to kind of set the top down with the lid open and feed the switch up through the top. We can lower down and grab the switch at the same time. Pull it through. Once you have it through, we can put this end in first and then snap this end in. Once you have it snapped into place, we can lower the lid and we can put the top back on. You have to make sure that this locking tab right here goes into the opening, and then when you push it back and lock it in, you drop it down and this tab goes into the opening on the top. Once you have the top in place, we can use a 1/4" nut driver to put the screws in. Now that we have the screws in, we can lift the console up and put it in place. You want to make sure that the tabs go into place, and then you can set it back. Once everything is lined up, we can use our 1/4" nut driver to put the screws in. Now we can reconnect the fill hoses. All you have to do is line them up with the valve and carefully thread them on. You want to make sure you don't cross thread them. Once you have it tightened down as much as you can by your hand, you can grab the pliers and tighten it down. Now that we have the fill hoses reconnected, we can put the front panel back on. To put the front panel on, all you have to do is set it onto its mounting tabs, and then we can lift it up into place. As you lift it up, you want to make sure that the white pins go into the holes, and we can snap it in and lock it in place. Now that we have the washer put back together, we can turn the water on, plug it back in, and take it for a spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.